Well, it was nice having an entertainment career while it lasted. Punch-Out is a 1984 arcade game that is best known for its 1987 NES port. In the game, you play as a tiny hamburger who is looking to become world champion of the World Video Boxing Association. And he's being helped by Doc Lewis, who was an ex heavyweight whose heyday was back in 1954, as according to the manual. It all began one day when Little Mac and Doc Lewis met by chance. Doc became Mac's trainer, teaching him everything there is to know about boxing. Doc and Mac's story continues over a seemingly endless path until one day a champion is born. This might be the shortest story I've seen in a manual. Also, geez Louise, was that the best picture they could muster up for Doc Lewis? Seems a bit, outdated to say the least. Now might be a great time to mention that Punch Out is primarily known for two things: fun, action packed boxing matches, and insanely on the nose stereotypical characters. Are these characters racist? Is a question for a different channel. I'm just here for the jokes, people, and I don't plan on pulling any punches, pun intended. Anyways, let's keep it clean. Now come out boxing. So, our first opponent in our fledgling career is Glass Joe. He's the weakest character with the worst defenses. He's also French. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. Glass Joe exists as a glorified punching bag for you to learn the controls on. Which I don't need to explain the rules of boxing because we all know sports, right? Oh, wait, never mind. We're all nerds here. As Little Mac, you can punch, jab, yes, there is a difference, dodge, block, duck, and if you are able to get a star by punching someone the right way, uppercut. Be careful not to hit a blocking opponent or block an opponent too many times, as you may run out of hearts and turn pink as a result, which will make you sluggish and unable to punch. Who in the world turns pink when they're out of breath? Your goal is to reduce your opponent's health to zero before they knock yours to zero. If you knock your opponent down, they get a chance to recover. If you get knocked down, you also get a chance to recover by rapidly button mashing like a crazed chimpanzee on crack until you stand up. If your opponent is unable to recover, you win, and vice versa if you are unable to recover. Also, there are 3 rounds, which are 3 minutes each. If neither fighter has been knocked out by the end of the third round, whoever performed better in the fight is declared the winner. If you or your opponent is knocked down 3 times in one round, the other fighter wins by a TKO. Anyways, we should probably focus on our opponent, Glass Joe. At the beginning of the fight, you can just wail on him. Most he attempts to do is block. After a while, he will begin swinging at you, but it's pretty easy to dodge his punches. Most fighters can't help but glow to telegraph that they are about to attack. Makes it real easy to dodge these blows. And once you have dodged the punches, that's when you move in to strike. Eventually, Glass Joe will begin taunting you. Dude, if I had your record, I wouldn't even be taunting a squirrel. Fun fact, most of the fighters have a blow that you can deal to them that will cause an instant knockdown, if not a match winning knockout. Glass Joe's knockdown is to counter his taunt punch. That's what you get for trying to show off, pardon. Up next is Von Kaiser, who, in case you couldn't tell by the name, is German. Now, this is a fighter. As compared to Glass Joe, you're actually going to have to apply strategy to win against this Ubermensch. Thankfully for us, he has a tendency to shake his head before he strikes. I don't know if we'd survive this blitzkrieg without it. Once you dodge his uppercut, you can strike him with a volley of punches, leaving him stunned. While he's stunned, you can uppercut him for an easy instant knockdown. Do it 3 times and you'll have officially won your second match. Up next is Piston Honda. Honda. I'm not certain, and I don't even think Nintendo is. Anyways, Piston Honda is so Japanese that he can't help but spout out random Japanese words between rounds like sushi, kamikaze, Fujiyama, bonsai, and you should wear a helmet. Between rounds, you will receive words of encouragement from Doc Lewis with the occasional piece of advice. But this also gives your opponents a chance to flex on you. Like when Von Kaiser says, "Surrender or I will conquer you." Or Glass Joe says, "Do I have time to take a nap before the fight?" Why are you such a disappointment? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love you, but do better. Anyways, Piston Honda is the minor circuit champion. So out of all the people that suck, he's the best. I imagine that Piston Honda would be great to play poker with, as he can't help but twitch his eyebrows right before he makes a move. That is until he starts right hooking and uppercutting out of nowhere. At some point during the match, he will begin bouncing around. Once he's done with his Tigger impersonation, he will unleash a flurry of fists against you. Your only chance to survive is to either block these punches or dodge them. Or you could just counterpunch before he starts for an instant knockout. And just like that, we've become the new minor circuit champion. Time to train for the major circuit by running around New York while Doc Lewis rides a bicycle with 2 frames of animation. Now that we're in the major circuit, we gotta step up our game. Our first opponent is Don Flamenco, and for the life of me, I just can't figure out his nationality. I mean, I just wish they could give me some sort of hint. Don Flamenco will sit there and taunt you into punching him. Once you give in to his taunt, he will immediately begin uppercutting you. Now, you can instantly knock him down with an uppercut of your own, but personally, I prefer just locking him into the infinite hit combo. Oh, yeah, it's still going. No one expects the Spanish Infinite. Anyways, up next is King Hippo, who is from Hippo Island in the South Pacific, which is a completely fictional country. Unless they're trying to hint at the fact that he's from Nauru, a real life island which has one of the highest obesity rates in the world, which might be what they are getting at with this absolute unit of a man. You go, King! Hippo? I mean, to be fair, there is a real life Hippo Island, but I really doubt they meant to use it because it's located near Antarctica. I mean, maybe they did mean that Hippo Island, and King Hippo has all that blubber to survive the tundra. I am probably putting more thoughts into this than the designers did. Anyways, King Hippo is a strong opponent. At first, there appears to be no way to break through his impenetrable defense. Any punch you throw at him will be blocked. King Hippo is the definition of an immovable object. Well, unfortunately for him, he just ran into an unstoppable force. Between rounds, King Hippo will boast that he has a weakness, but he's not going to tell you. Well, ain't that a bit rude? Or stupid for telling me he has a weakness to begin with? I- I'm not sure, but it's definitely not proper table manners. Thankfully, Doc Lewis will spoil his secret and tell you that you should make him close his big mouth. Sometimes, when King Hippo attacks, he will open his mouth wide. Turn your targeting system off, trust in the Force, and go for the jab. Now that you have socked King Hippo in the mouth, he has dropped his pants, giving us the opportunity to punish him by flailing into that big old tub of jelly he calls a belly. After punching him enough times, King Hippo will fall down and he will be incapable of getting back up. I thought that hippos were supposed to be more ferocious than this. Anyways, moving on from one jungle animal to another, our next opponent is the Great Tiger. Great Tiger is an interesting man to say the least. He brought a pet tiger with him to a regulation boxing match. I feel like that's got to be some type of rules violation. He is Indian, but not in the way that Gandhi is Indian. He's more in line with how nuclear Gandhi is Indian, where humanity is the problem and the atomic bomb is the answer. Great Tiger is merciless. He will pounce on you with only a glimmer of the jewel on his head as an indicator. He will call you a kitten between rounds because, yeah, I needed that hit to my confidence. He's also a wizard. Well, he's actually more of a sorcerer, as he is said to have gained his powers from his father, but D&D classes aside, he has magical powers. He has the ability to warp around the ring and throw punches. This is his most powerful move, but it's also his greatest vulnerability. If you are able to survive this magical punching onslaught, it will leave him stunned, which you are able to abuse to punch him back, causing an instant knockdown. Who's the kitten now? Up next is the Major Circuit champion, Bald Bull. What's up with all the animal references in this circuit? Anyways, Bald Bull is a boxer from Istanbul, Turkey. Okay, so this is like Westy after the scripting process during the editing process, but I just caught this that out of all of the countries they could have picked for Bald Bull, they had to pick the one that shares its name with an animal. I mean, that can't be a coincidence, right? Bald Bull is a bit of a difficulty spike. He is the first fighter that has little to no telegraphing for his punches. He lacks the ability to glow, and somehow this gives him an advantage. And this is not what is most dangerous about him. Bald Bull will live up to his name as he takes a few steps back. He will then wildly charge towards you and take a mighty swing at you. This is his Bull Charge, which might be one of the most iconic moves featured in this series. If you get hit by it, it's gonna hurt. It's very likely that if you don't know how to counter this blow, that it will be used to knock you out, causing you to lose the match. Where Bald Bull will come forward and laugh over your mangled body. So, how do you beat this charging bull? Well, like how you beat any charging bull. Punch him in the nuts. Yeah, you can just straight up counter his charge. An easy way to make sure you always get the counter is to watch this member of the paparazzi. When his camera flashes, punch. You are almost guaranteed to get the instant knockdown. Oh wow, a journalist was actually useful in gaming for once. Who could have guessed? Anyways, now that we have beaten Bald Bull, that makes us the Major Circuit champion. And you know what that means? We get to run through New York City at night. Oh, also, we get to compete in the World Circuit. But look, the New York skyline is all lit up. It's so pretty. All right, we're in the big time now, the World Circuit. I wonder who our first opponent is going to be. Piston Honda, the minor circuit champion? That's who we're starting with in the World Circuit? Well, this isn't a good look. Yes, Piston Honda is our first rematch bout. These fights are basically just the same fights, just a bit harder. Piston Honda is faster, harder to hit, and has some new moves. But he still has the instant knockout with the piston punch, which is also a knockout, not just a knockdown. However, it's a far tighter counter window than before. Mistakes are not an option in the World Circuit. Our next opponent is Soda Popinski. Soda Popinski is Russian, and in fact, his name was originally Vodka Drunkinsky, but due to the controversy of having an adult beverage being featured in a kid's game, his name was changed to Soda Popinski. Oh, yeah, we can have every stereotype under the sun, no problem. But the Lord forbid we mention beer. Still didn't stop his in between round quotes from all being based on being absolutely hammered. Anyways, Soda Popinski is a formidable opponent. He has a lot of strong punches, and quite a few of them have no telegraphing whatsoever. He is very likely to knock you down several times, where he will sit there and laugh over you. The laugh might sound familiar to some of you, but we'll get to that in time. So, there's something I need to confess. I will admit that before writing this script, I had never beaten Punch Out before. This is the guy that I rarely get past while playing on my own, so please forgive me if I say anything wrong from here on out. I'm learning alongside you at this point, and of course, it had to happen during the School of Hard Knocks. So, by what I can read on the Punch Out Wiki, it's best to use the stick and move tactics, a term that I, as a lifelong nerd, do not recognize. But thanks to reductive reasoning, I think it has something to do with Teddy Roosevelt. Okay, just looked it up. Apparently, I'm off to a bad start because it has something to do with dodging and striking your opponent while their defenses are down. Isn't isn't that how you beat all boxers in this game? Anyways, Soda Popinski has an instant knockdown where you uppercut him after countering an uppercut of his. I'm not certain how to do that, so I fought him like a bloody coward in order to progress. Please don't hurt me. Oh, huh, he's not. Well, that's nice of him. Oh, jeez! Oh, well, I'm all right. I'll be fine. Ugh. How long has Mario been the ref in this game? Anyways, I was able to beat Soda Popinski by the skin of my teeth. Jeez, the World Circuit is not messing around. I wonder who my next opponent will be. Bald Bull. I mean, I guess this makes sense. It makes sense that the champions that we beat would win another round against the Rising Star. Also, they're really giving it their all this time around. Bald Bull won't even go down this time around unless you uppercut him or counter his bull charge, which, of course, is much harder this time around. Either way, I was able to beat Bald Bull once again. So that's got to be the last of the rematches, right? I mean, we just beat the Major Circuit champion once again. It would be ridiculous if the next guy we fight would be the lowest ranked fighter of the Major Circuit, right? Buddy, do I have news for you? Our next match is a rematch with Don Flamenco. Whose idea was this? I mean, don't get me wrong, Don Flamenco seems to be taking this match seriously this time. And after knocking him down with a volley of infinite punches in our first match, I don't blame him for being a bit bitter. We can't infinite him this time around, so it looks like we're going to have to use skill. Skill and the guides written by people who have beaten this game thousands of times. Thanks, Internet. Couldn't have done it without you. Anyways, on to the next match. Our next bout is with Mr. Sandman, who is a fighter from Philadelphia. Mr. Sandman will live up to his name. He is guaranteed to put you to sleep. He hits very hard. Also, his attacks are very fast and can seem random at times. I'm not even certain I can describe the strategy I used to win. You're just going to have to trust me that it was a hard fought bout. I'm definitely not skipping this fight because I find him to be the least interesting fighter in the entire group. I promise. Anyways, now we have one last match, the champion of the world circuit, Super Macho Man. A literal celebrity from Hollywood, California. He begins the match by intimidating you with his pecs alone. You know, I bet you this guy would make a good wrestler. He's got crazy fast punches and uppercuts. He's so confident that he's going to win that he doesn't even bother looking at you with either of his eyes. His signature move is a crazy spinning punch, which is creatively called the Super Spin Punch, where he will spin anywhere between 3 to 11 times. How does he not get dizzy? Well, maybe he does, because once he's done with his Super Spin Punch, he'll just sit there for a bit, giving you a prime opportunity to punish him. Through a long, hard fought match, eventually Super Macho Man fell, and we have become the World Circuit Champion. The goal that brought Mac and Doc Lewis together has been achieved, and we will go down in history for our monumental accomplishment. But we're not done yet. I lied earlier. We still have one match left, and this upcoming match is the most challenging one yet, with an opponent who will be the strongest opponent we've faced thus far. Welcome to the Dream Fight, where we get to fight the ultimate boxing opponent. And who is this opponent? Well, it was originally Mike Tyson, who was the undefeated heavyweight world champion when this game first came out in 1987. This final boss fight is notorious for being one of the hardest fights in video game history. However, following his first loss in 1990 and thereby losing his title, Nintendo decided to remove his name from the game in the 1990 reprint of Punch-Out and replace him with a different fighter who will be our opponent tonight. But before we move on from Mike Tyson, I would be remiss not to mention the fact that for 26 years, Mike Tyson had never played Punch-Out. He got a chance to play the game in 2013, where he lost to, believe it or not, Glass Joe. Well, now we know where Glass Joe's one win comes from. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't want to fight a guy who couldn't even beat Glass Joe. Also, Mike Tyson has a tendency to bite people's ears off, and quite frankly, I like my symmetrical face. It definitely has nothing to do with the fact that I don't have a copy of Mike Tyson's Punch Out and only have access to the reprint. I promise. And I should mention that the fighter we're fighting is just a carbon copy of the Mike Tyson fight, so we're not missing out on much other than a celebrity cameo. Anyways, without further ado, the fighter we'll be fighting tonight is Mr. Dream, who hails from Dreamland. What? He's from Dreamland? Does he know Kirby? No. This is Dreamland with no space. Kirby is from Dreamland. Notice that it's 2 words. Not that the distinction matters, as both Kirby and Mr. Dream are merciless killing machines. Mr. Dream has 99 wins and 0 losses, which is the best record of the entire Punch-Out series. So I don't want to hear that he's not worth fighting and that I'm only doing it this way to save time to get these videos out, because it's only true. Anyways, let's begin the Dream fight. Mr. Dream will start the fight off strong by throwing haymakers that will immediately knock you out. Yep, he can end you with just one punch, man. Actually, most of his punches can end you with a single blow. Also, there's barely any to no telegraphing on any of his punches. I can see why so many people consider this the toughest fight in video game history. But hey, we're the world champions. We're not going to go down without putting up a fight. Oh, this is going to be a long match. But don't worry, I think we have this one in the bag. I said we should have this one in the bag. Okay, well, you know what they say, third time's the charm. Huh. Well, now I don't know what to do. I mean, what can I do? I mean, this is one of the hardest boss fights ever programmed, and I've never beaten it myself. I just don't think I can do anything to change that fact. Wait, what? Did you hear something? Because I think I just heard something. No, it can't be. It's. It's. The spirit of the NES Mike Tyson. Look, man, I'm sorry I had to cut you from the episode. I had no choice. Blame Nintendo, not me. Wait, you're not mad at me? You wanna help me? Oh, so that I can beat this knockoff of yours? Well, that's great and all, but I don't know how I can do it. I mean, anything I try seems to fail. I mean, what kind of plan can we come up with that will defeat this guy? You know what? That's fair. But I think I know what you might be getting at here. Maybe I don't need a plan. Maybe all I need to do is trust in my instincts. Float like a butterfly, sting like a slightly larger butterfly. Yeah, yeah, it's working. Oh man, I got him down twice. If only I could knock him down one more time. Ugh, dude, stop blinking at me like that. It's creeping me out. All right, that's it. You're asking for it. Oh, oh, wow! I did it! I beat Mr. Dream! I have officially beaten Punch Out. Thank you, spirit of NES Mike Tyson. I couldn't have done it without you. It turns out that you were the true champion all along. Still kind of amazing that you couldn't beat Glass Joe, though. Oh, jeez! Ah, dude, do you know how much that's gonna cost to get that fixed? At least $1.